All right, we're up. We're
We're up.
live.
We're
What's
live.
up? We are a little more than 24 hours from the NBA draft as we're doing this. Balta, how you feeling? Are you nervous? Are you excited? What's your overall mindset this far out? So close to the draft.
There are so many guys we can select here at 4, or even in a trade back scenario where you still get that top tier of players. As I think we discussed this on the last episode. That top 7, I'm feeling pretty good about that top 7.
Mhm.
Anything past that, and that's where it starts to get dicey. The Hornets have so many good options here. I feel like they really can't mess it up. Does that make sense? Like, it almost feels, just from my view and how I viewed these prospects and going back and watching the film and seeing pretty much who's going to be on the board when the Charlotte Hornets name pops up on the screen. I feel like it's almost foolproof, but I'm also a Charlotte Hornets fan, and I know what the year. I mean, look at this thing. I got this Glenn Rice jersey above my head. This is how long I've been a fan, guys. And so that PTSD starts to kick in, and it's like, oh no, we can definitely mess this thing up. So I'm feeling good because there are so many players I like at 4, but I am a little nervous. I'd be lying if I said that. Nah, I'm feeling good. Like Jeff Peterson, in Jeff Peterson we trust. Like, nah, I'm a little worried.
Yeah, um, I'm 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 worried that like the front office and the ownership have been
Sam, you
impatient.
sound worried. I know you haven't
No,
expounded upon how worried you are, but I can feel it through the screen.
yeah. So I I'm confident that they'll stick with like this overall patient strategy, but I am worried that they will trade the pick for some type of microwave option to kind of fast track this rebuild. And I'm a little like 25% concerned about that happening. And
Oh, so are you talking about like a CJ McCollum, what we saw Washington do today, type move in the Pels?
just something
Like,
like Jalen Green, I don't know, like something weird.
oh, okay.
Like I think I'm a little concerned
I,
about something weird happening because there've been some weird trades leading up to this. And
I got you.
so
That's what I was trying to gauge from you because, yeah, obviously we wouldn't trade for CJ McCollum,
yeah,
but
yeah,
a deal like that, kind of like with Portland bringing in Drew Holiday all of a sudden,
yeah.
you know, both of those trades, I'm glad you mentioned that. Both of those trades kind of are giving into that insight. I know there's been a lot of talk on the NBA landscape that there's going to be a ton of movement this summer,
Mhm.
right? And we've gotten a taste of that from some bottom of the league teams, I'd say, in Washington and Portland and even New Orleans. If they think that, hey, we're just trying to get out from CJ, let's bring in Jordan Poole. Let's see if he doesn't have to be the guy, but he can be a guy and kind of return to that Golden State Warriors role that he had when he saw some success there. Yeah, there have been some strange trades. So I get that worry, actually. I really do.
And the NBA does a lot of things right, but like this happening so soon after the finals has me concerned as well. Just it just amplifies the weirdness potential with all of this. So that's a cloud lingering over my head. But if the Hornets stick at 4, they can't do wrong. Because like Deontay says, with I'm gonna put this back up. Uh, what VJ or bust? I feel that, but I think Philly's gonna take him.
I do
I
too.
don't think he's gonna be there at 4.
I don't
Um,
either.
and I don't know. Like it's smokescreen season and whatever. Like the Hornets are taking calls about falling back, which is I'm okay with. in general, but just sticking the fourth overall pick specifically, Knipple makes a lot of sense. Trey Johnson makes sense. Ace Bailey doesn't make sense. He may end up being the best player out of everybody, but it doesn't fit with what the Hornets and Trey Johnson doesn't really fit with what the Hornets kind of been rolling out there lately or projecting. So if it's Knipple at 4, I am more than okay with that. And you just got okay, we're good. Like offensive floor spacing covered. Now you can look to supplement the roster elsewhere with the remaining draft picks or in free agency or whatever. But specific to the fourth pick, I feel confident in that. It's just that little bit of like, what if they have a weird trade to get involved with and they move out of the draft entirely? That would concern me.
All right, I want to go back to two things you just stated. So you mentioned Jalen Green's name. I would be totally out on that. Like, I think we've seen enough of Jalen Green. I'm not saying he's a finished product. I just don't believe that what we've seen from him, I want to bring that into Charlotte. I know that there are some Jalen Green truthers out there that, really would like to flip that and go that route. I'm not one of those guys. It doesn't sound like you are either. Can you elaborate?
It just, you'd have to reshape the entire. You have to build around Jalen Green, and it's a bit it's a bit lateral to me. Like I don't see you.
Oh, that's extremely lateral to me. I don't think that.
Yeah. Where
I
do you
think the
go from
Rockets
there?
had Jalen Green as the centerpiece for a few years, and we saw what that led to, the bottom of the league. And then
Yep.
they brought in some real dudes with some experience and some toughness, some grown-ups
Yep.
in the locker room. And then that really elevated that team. Now, I think Jalen Green still played a role, so I don't want to take all credit away from him, but I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's franchise cornerstone level player. And I think that's why Houston was so willing to move off of him. Now, it's Kevin Durant. I get it. I mean, most everyone in the league is trading whoever they have on their roster for Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not be pleased with Jalen Green acquisition and coming to Charlotte.
Yeah, there would have to be like some moves. You're kind of waiting for another move to like a follow up. That I would need 2 follow up moves after that for it to make sense. Like LaMelo would have to be traded next for that to make sense to me. And you're in that point, you're really signaling, yo, we're really, really, really rebuilding if you do that, because you have to reshape your entire philosophy around offense. And Jalen Green just doesn't even seem like it's a small sample size from what we've seen from the front office, but what they like, I don't see that in Jalen Green. So
I was just about to say
it
that
doesn't
he
make sense
doesn't.
of something they would be interested in even doing.
He doesn't strike me as a Charles Lee guy. He doesn't strike me as what Jeff Peterson keeps saying. Why they drafted Tejan Salon. Like that's just not really Jalen Green to me.
Yeah.
Second thing I want to point out from what you said in the opening, you said you don't believe that Ace Bailey or Trey Johnson really fit what the Hornets have going. This is what I would counter with. What are you trying to fit on a 19-win team?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That would be my counter.
Yeah. And no, you're 100% right. There's nothing to protect here. Like it's there to be fixed and upgraded across the board. I'm just kind of using recent history to kind of frame that, but also like with Trey Johnson, like or with Jalen Green. If you want Jalen Green, just draft Trey Johnson.
Yeah.
Like
no, I do agree with that.
Like if you want to go in that kind of scoring option, like I would rather have the younger guy on a rookie deal with the fourth pick than do that with Jalen Green. But that's just like a weird Twitter thing that's been going around. I don't know of the Hornets potentially getting involved in a 3-teamer. I don't know if there's any like validity to that. But I do want to get to this, the idea of falling back a little bit. We talked about this previously on the channel, and I think the particulars are the particulars, but I think the idea of sliding back a few spots and getting a player of of value, of that's still high up on your board that you could get later, it does make sense, especially if it's Malawak, when you still get your Duke guy. Because I'm convinced, absolutely convinced they want one of these. They wanted Flag, obviously. Knipple, that'd be cool with. Malawak, I think that'd be very cool with. Because if you go on YouTube and just search Rick Schnall Duke, you can see him hitting a game winner at like a Duke fantasy basketball camp. This guy is Duke through and through. I'm confident they want one of these Duke guys. I don't know where they
Disgusting.
would get him, where in the draft, but they're gonna get. I think they're gonna get one of them. But gathering assets and falling back, it does make sense when you get. It does make sense, and I wouldn't hate
No, if we can slide back, like I said, to 6 or 7, 6, 7,
it.
and we can pull off and still get Con Knipple, I would be ecstatic about draft night.
Mhm.
If if we can still get Con and we slide to 6 or 7, I'm feeling good. I don't think he's there at 8. I think he's gone. I think anything as far as 8 and lower, I I think that's where you start to get Maliwatch would be one of those Duke guys, like you stated. There's been nothing about like Derek Queen as a possible replacement to Mark Williams.
No, thank you.
I mean, the next best information that we've gotten, that we've received, would be Yakachonis, and that's where I draw the line. I think that's going to do it in for a lot of Hornets fans. I think that's where you see the tiki torches go, aflame. If the Hornets trade back and take Yakachonis and they add like maybe a first rounder in the 20s to that, I think that's where fans are saying, that's it. That's it. I've had enough of this front office already. I think that's where you're going to have fire Jeff Peterson on Twitter handles and all kinds of things. That's probably nightmare scenario for me personally. Would be slide back and maybe only get another first in this draft. Because if we trade back, I'd like to get something in the future. I think that's where I'm at. I don't think we need to be bringing in 2, 3, 4 rookies this season. That's not where I'm at. Um, and so I'd like a future pick if we trade
Mhm.
back, and I want to still be able to get Ace, Con, or even Trey Johnson at that juncture. I don't really want to slip past that uh that tier.
So I I'm not clued into much Philadelphia 76ers basketball. Shouldn't be a surprise. I don't know what the chatter is around them, but for the purposes of this, it, I think we can both agree if Edgecombe is there, the Hornets are taking him like 100%, like 10 times out of 10, right?
9 out of 10.
So uh, it would be the mature thing for the Sixers to do. If they stay there, they could very well trade out. Someone could trade up. Who knows? But of the grouping of Knipple, of I'll put Bailey in there and Johnson. Um, it feels like Knipple will be the pick, and I'm very much okay with it. Um, this team needs everything, and Knipple brings shooting. He can put the ball on the floor a little bit. He's strong. He's really smart, like plugged in and like locked into what needs to happen on the floor. He's used to he's been the guy like in high school, got to Duke, it was no longer the guy. So I'm just no issue with ego or anything like that or fitting into the ecosystem here. It makes a lot of sense of what he the Knipple package. And then I know defensively could be an issue, but nobody at this point in the draft is going to be perfect because even with Edgecombe, I still have concerns about him getting his own shot and finishing non layup or non dunks. and
Mhm.
it's you gotta. I think at this point, I'm more than okay with just going safe. If they went with the fun option is Trey Johnson. The risky option is Ace Bailey. This organization seems like they would go with the sure thing.
If the selection's Con, I'm more than okay with it, even at 4. I've seen some chatter online about if the Hornets take Knipple at 4, that'll be malpractice. The only way you draft him is if you gain additional assets and you draft him at 6 or 7 or 8,
Mhm.
somewhere in that range. I don't follow. I don't subscribe to that idea or that train of thought. I think Knipple at 4 is fine. I'll be fine with that. I will leave draft night and I'll be happy if Conka Nipple is the choice at 4. I will be okay if VJ Edgecombe is the choice at 4, and I will
Yeah.
be okay if Ace Bailey is the selection at 4. I'm gonna throw something at Sam. You say risky. If I'm the Charlotte Hornets, if I were the GM, this is probably why I'm not the GM. If I'm at 4 and VJ does go 3, I'm taking Ace Bailey. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to I'm going to throw all caution to the wind. I think this team, like, we won 19 games. I know I've already said that. You said it once already here on this episode. This team needs that shot in the arm. They need as much talent as possible. I think Khan has talent. I think VJ has talent. I think Ace has the highest ceiling. I just really do see it. I think even defensively, even if all of the questions offensively, as far as him being able to just make simple passes and move the ball where the ball doesn't stick, um, his frail frame. Um, Even if those things stick, I believe that there's upside defensively if you can just get him locked in on that end. Now, I think that there are some questions whether you can do that or not. But as far as two-way, I see it with Ace.
Yeah.
He's he's young. I we don't know what's been going in his head, who's been talking to him, who's been saying what. That I would be most excited if Ace Bailey is the selection. I will be totally okay and I'll be happy if it's Edgecombe or Knipple, but I'll be most excited if it's Ace Bailey. That's personal.
So, well, I just want to pop this on here. So, 6'7.5" without shoes is
Yeah,
what
without
I'm seeing.
shoes.
So, it's that thing where he reclassified, so he's younger than everybody else. So, like, he could still be growing too. So, like,
He
the,
can. So I
the
mean, with shoes, you're talking 6'9",
yeah.
and he could still be growing. And I mean, he can make difficult shots. He takes a ton of difficult shots. We have a lot of that on the team already. I understand it. I get it. I truly do. Do we just want more of LaMelo in Ace Bailey? I think that's kind of the worry. Um, LaMelo's pretty damn good when he's healthy, though. And so
Yeah.
if Ace Bailey's coming in without the health concerns, without any of the prior injuries, I'm not well versed on Ace Bailey's history. I don't believe that there's a lot of as far as injuries.
So,
Um,
I was looking at Johnson, Bailey, Knipple, all those guys were either first or second in games played last year for their teams,
yeah,
or first and second in minutes played for their teams. Like, there's unless there's something happened in high school, knock on wood or whatever. But like
yeah,
last season, these guys played.
yeah. That's what I was getting at. Like high school, I have no idea. Like there are some guys who look at the draft and they go back and they start looking at high school film and what were they ranked when they came out and what were they doing when they were the lead guy. Maybe they played on this team where they weren't the lead guy, all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. But just looking from college, like no injury concerns that I'm aware of. And I mean, that may be the takeaway from all of this for Hornets fans is like there aren't any concerns leading into this that we should really truly, just be uh, too worried about, honestly. Um, but yeah, Ace would be he would be my selection. That's who I would be most excited for. I think he has the highest ceiling as far as Edgecombe goes, and maybe you can. I'm just going to kind of throw this in. We can kind of hit back on whatever we need to. I think VJ's floor is a lot lower than what the consensus is talking about. I put out a lot of this on Hornets League yesterday. Um, I do think there are some concerns with VJ. I truly do. Um, I think his floor. I don't think he has superstar written on him. I think he has quality, like high end role player in the league. I don't think that there's all star written on VJ. I think professional. I think level headed. I think guy who's going to do the small things right. I think a guy who's going to cut well, lob threat off of those cuts, good in transition. Um, can hit an open three. I think that's his realm. I think Khan has a higher floor than VJ. And I think he may even have a higher ceiling than VJ. Like that's kind of where I'm at. I think VJ and Khan are safe picks, but I do believe in Khan's floor more than I do VJ's.
So I, I'm glad we're doing this live because as we're doing this, I've a bunch of different thoughts come to my head. And one of the things that concerns me about Edgecombe was how much like off ball defense he was playing. And if you're not the point of attack defender in college, are you going to be that guy in the pros? And
Yeah,
the Hornets need that.
we need that.
Literally haven't had that on the perimeter since like prime Cody Martin and Nick Smith, or Dennis Smith Jr. Right?
Yep.
Like it hasn't been a thing that the Hornets have employed from the guard spot. But the Bailey thing, as you were talking, I was just thinking about him. Like last year, they had no issue taking a project, a guy they found with a lot of with a very high upside. And Tajon Salon is clearly not an NBA player right now, but he's so young. He has the size, he has the work rate, and we've seen flashes from what it can be. And they took him 6 overall. Why not do it again?
Why not?
With a much better bet, Bailey is a much better prospect than Tajon Salon. Like that's not even close. And you're banking on hitting big with Bailey. And so now I'm kind of on Ace Bailey now. I kind of want that. Like let's just go for it. Let's just go for
Man,
it.
I didn't know I was going to come on here and convince you to and sway you the opposite direction.
I don't think they will do it, but I think there's an argument if you're in the room with them. He's like, why would you did it last year? You passed on more higher floor guys. Like
Yeah.
there were high floor players waiting to be selected at 6, and they said no, we're going with the upside because we're taking our time with this rebuild thing.
Yeah.
That sounds like Bailey to me. When you have Knipple, when you have Trey Johnson or Edgecombe, whomever that's sitting there, those guys are more NBA ready theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Let's go, team. Let's go. All right. Shit, man. I want Ace Bailey now.
I'm Mason.
I think you got and for no other reason, you take him and you hold him hostage, and he's like, "Hey, who Brooklyn? You have a ton of picks. Come get him." And then throw in some else. Like Brooklyn has a lot of
Give
picks.
us Cam Johnson.
Yeah, make
Give
it
us Cam
work
Johnson.
for
Give us 8. We'll move down. Hopefully, Khan's still there. I don't think he will be, but hey, maybe he's there. But yeah, hold Ace hostage, and if the Nets really want him, give us 8-19 Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 and Cam Johnson. I might would be okay with that. Or maybe we go 8-19 Cam Johnson. We'll give you 4, 33, 34.
Yeah,
And then you select. Maybe you get Khan. Maybe it's Maluach, and you get Mark Williams' replacement essentially, which is just
because then if you do that, you take Bailey 4, and then you see how the rest of the draft plays out. Then you know exactly who's going to be there at 8.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taking that risk if you're Charlotte, and then you're truly. The only thing though, history's not kind to guys wearing the Hornets hat and then playing for other people. It,
It's not.
it's kind of a cursed thing.
That's
Uh,
why, honestly, at the end of the day, that's why I'm just sticking with Ace Bailey. If Ace
yeah,
Bailey's there at 4, I want the Hornets to go full out Ace Bailey. If they don't, I understand it. I don't think I'm going to be mad. Like, I'm trying to project into tomorrow night while I'm watching it live. Like, if Ace Bailey is not the selection and we go Concanipple, we go Trey Johnson, we go VJ Edgecombe, which I don't think he's going to be there, as we've stated. But if we go one of those guys and Ace Bailey was available, I don't think I'm going to be upset if it's Con or if it's VJ. I don't think. But man, if it's Ace Bailey, I'm going to be ecstatic because I feel like that's our home run hit. I feel like if we if we select Ace Bailey and we do move him, I think he's going to be a star.
yeah, it's
And
guaranteed
that's
at that point.
probably PTSD again. Um I mean, he's got he damn well might still be growing, as you stated. He's got the length. He's got the tough shot making, and I think he's got the defensive ceiling as well. Because, like you said with VJ Edgecombe, he was not the point of attack defender. He was off. He was great off
Yeah,
ball.
it's great. He's really fucking good at that. And he's
He
like,
was.
it's a more athletic Alex Caruso. And then he's like, well, with the 4th pick, is that is that
I
like
don't.
it kind
I
of.
don't think he's Caruso defensively though.
Well, yeah,
That's
yeah.
like
Well, I
I
mean,
think he has
in like
better offensive upside. So
yeah.
I think you got to take some of that with some of while taking away some of the defense. As far as a Caruso comparison goes, I think, yeah, I just think that there are actually more questions with Edgecombe than we've been giving that conversation credit. Is where I'm at.
One thing, so in like the kind of the vein of being a copycat league, you look at what Oklahoma City has done a madness as far as roster construction, but like just from a play style point of view, the amount of pressure they're able to put on teams just to even bring the ball up court.
Yeah,
Edgecombe fits into that.
he
He has
does.
the engine and work rate. Um, he looks like he can slide into like he looks like he can play for OKC. Like he kind of fits into that.
100%. I would not be shocked. So there are rumors apparently swirling that OKC is looking to get into the top 10. It would not shock me at all if OKC just took like 3 or 4 of their guys, maybe even like a Case and Wallace, whatever picks they have, and then maybe another high end guy that played a role. I don't know who that might be. Maybe a Caruso. I don't know.
Mhm.
And said, you know what, Philly, here you go. Take these guys. We're going to move up to 3, and then they take Edgecombe because my gosh, if there's a Thunder player, you said it perfectly, Sam. If there's a guy that plugs into the Thunder tomorrow,
Mhm.
immediately, it's VJ Edgecombe, and like that's copycat league. Yes, that's what has me excited about drafting Edgecombe is because I just watched the Thunder. I
Yeah.
just watched a guy like TJ McConnell give people hell all postseason long. And now I don't think Edgecombe is TJ McConnell. That's not what I'm trying to say. But those guys that are pesky, that do the little things
Yep.
right, I think that's what Edgecombe's going to be.
Mhm.
Um, but also to your point on just saying that, I'm going to piggyback off of that. Out of the guys, I don't know if anyone's picked up. I don't even know if you've picked up on it. Trey Johnson has been left off out of most of the things that have been coming out of my mouth as far as who I'd be excited for, who I'd want the most, who I'd be happy with, who I'd be comfortable taking. Trey Johnson has not been a part of any of those things that have proceeded henceforth. And the reason I didn't see any guys like Trey Johnson on Oklahoma City. I didn't see many guys like Trey Johnson in the playoffs that build, that size, who are
Mhm.
just kind of known for shooting and scoring and have all kinds of questions defensively, have all kinds of questions, whether that be point of attack, whether that be off ball, anything defensively, really. I didn't see many of those guys. Trey Johnson is at the bottom of that first tier for me. I know he can shoot it. I know this team needs shooting. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying this team doesn't need a Trey Johnson level shooter. Okay. I just, out of the guys available, he is the one that I would be least excited about the Charlotte Hornets selecting because wiry frame. I think he's 6'5". He's scrawny. I think he's 185. He showed little interest defensively. He can shoot it. He can freaking shoot it. Uh, that kind of translates to Jordan Clarkson in my mind. And I don't know if a better shooting Jordan Clarkson. I don't want to take all things away from Trey Johnson. He's a freshman. SEC was deep. It's got what 13, 14 teams in the tournament, something like that crazy. Um, I don't want to take all things away from him, but that build, that just prototype of a player, I'm kind of out on that. As not if he were a true point guard at that
Mhm.
size, I wouldn't be as worried. But he's not. He's not a point guard. He's a two guard. And two guards at that size who can pretty much just score and do nothing else, I, I'm kind of out on that kind of player. So Trey Johnson would be, I'd be pretty disappointed in a Trey Johnson draft selection tomorrow night, honestly.
Yeah,
And I don't
especially
even know if that's fully fair. I'm just being transparent. I'm being an open book. I would be pretty disappointed with Trey Johnson, I believe.
I wouldn't be disappointed per se, but he is my least favorite of this group purely because like he doesn't get to the rim like at all. I think he had like 2 dunks, something
I
like
mean,
that. And so
yeah,
if you're just shooting that it going back to what we just saw with OKC, like not forcing and putting pressure on in the half court, it's
yeah.
it's not a recipe for recent success across the league. So that is an issue. But yeah, really good athlete, crazy shot, and there is value there. But I'm like, well, he sounds like
That's
a
kind of
better
it
version of
though,
Nick Smith
right?
Jr.
Like
Say?
that is what he is. Like when people talk about Trey Johnson, it's he can shoot it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Con Knipple can shoot it.
right.
Ace Bailey makes tough shots.
And I want to interrupt you. We need some dogs. So I don't know if Trey Johnson's a dog. I don't see that in him.
I don't either.
I see it with Knipple. I see it with Edgecombe
Yeah,
for sure. And so
100%.
to that point from vibrating higher, I 1,000,000% agree with you because this team is soft in totality. Not everybody, but the majority are. And
Yeah,
so bringing
not
in
Grant
somebody,
Williams. Grant Williams, we are not talking about you.
yeah, yeah,
All right, we're not talking about you, man. But yeah, Trey Johnson, he's not that. Like he's going to want to come in and hit shots, and that's probably what the Hornets would want to do with him. And I think at the end of the day, that's why he's not going to be the selection because, like you said, he struggles getting to the rim. He struggles, like he I mean, defensively, there's just you hear dog. Like I mean, I hate to just beat on the OKC drum here, but that's why they play Lou Dort. Lou Dort can't shoot. He's not a shooter. But he is a dog. Alex Caruso can't shoot. He's not a shooter, but he is a dog. And so, like, you employ enough of those guys, that's where you can start filling in. Yeah, that's why I'm more comfortable with Khan. That's why I'm more comfortable with VJ because they fit that bill a lot better than a Trey Johnson. And then if we're going to take a guy who can just shoot, Like if we're taking Trey Johnson, take Khan with all of the things that he can do and that he can provide. He can shoot it just as well, or I would put them in the same category, right? But he can do so many other things as well. Um, so yeah, that's why I'm just kind of out on Trey, honestly.
So from Raphael, Dylan Harper, that would be nuts on the table move from the Charlotte Hornets, and I would respect it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, what
I
is it?
feel
The
like
South Park meme where the guy has his nuts in the wheelbarrow and he's just
legit
like pushing it down the sidewalk.
right to San Antonio's doorstep. I would respect the hell out of it, and I know San Antonio would want a king's ransom for it, but I would still be okay with it but you have to trade LaMelo, and what you would be doing is ideally whatever future capital you give up, and plus Mark Williams most likely to go to 2, you're hoping to recoup in a LaMelo trade.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be basically a push plus the cap relief from
Yep.
having 4 years of Dylan Harper instead of LaMelo on his max contract
40 million per year
and
plus.
6 years younger, whatever the age difference is,
Yep.
right? I would respect the hell out of it. I think it's super unlikely. Especially, I don't think Giannis gets traded. That's the only way I think San Antonio would give up that pick if it was involved
Yeah.
in the Giannis deal, and
Agreed.
rightfully so. But that's what my thoughts on Dylan Harper and the second pick. I think it'll be really fucking fun and really exciting, but I don't think it's a possibility, unfortunately.
All right, that might be number one. Okay, I set it out. Ace Bailey selection would be my favorite draft night outcome. No, I think trading up to 2 and drafting Dylan Harper would be my favorite. I'm glad that Raphael brought that up. That because yeah, Sam, I want to throw this at you real quick. Why do you believe that the next move would have to be we move off of LaMelo? Would it be A, because there's just too much overlap, or would it be B, the cap flexibility that it would provide? Do you think that just be like no reason to duplicate it, get LaMelo's contract off, hand Harper the keys, or is it just one of those things where they just can't coincide and play off of each other?
I mean, I'm firmly in the camp of the Hornets should trade LaMelo just anyway, because I
Yeah,
think this project is, and not because he's bad, it's because he's the best asset they have. He's really fucking good, and they can get a lot for him.
yeah,
A reasonable amount for him. And it would be a win for LaMelo to go to a better situation, and a win for the Hornets in collecting assets. Because I think this process, the project, whatever you want to call it, is going to take a minute. And so I don't know how, if LaMelo's cool with being part of this longer term project, that's fine with me. But in the context of a Harper trade, yeah, it just makes sense to me to free up Harper to be the point guard on the team, get what you get back from LaMelo, and basically start the rebuild in a different direction with
yeah.
using that cap flexibility. Because then you're looking at an opportunity to, well, I'm timeout, full disclosure, I haven't put in the trade machine because I don't even want to really entertain this fully, because I don't think it's going to happen. I don't, if the cap flexibility probably wouldn't be immediate, because I doubt San Antonio has just a bunch of empty cap space. I don't think they do, because they got Fox now.
Yeah.
So if anyone knows what the San Antonio cap situation is like, please let me know. But no, yeah, it'd be redundancy and an opportunity to clear out room for Harper to develop as the team's point guard, and also to cash in on LaMelo Ball and see what you can do in next year's draft. Because I think that the Hornets are going to be in the lottery again next season, and it's just a
100%.
matter of where they pick and what person do they drop into the mix.
Yeah. Yeah, LaMelo, best player on a bad team. It's
Yes.
starting, and I know that we are going to touch on this once we get done with the draft. We'll have more conversations around LaMelo. It's just starting to feel like DeJounte Murray when he was in San Antonio. And he was just there, and like they kind of fiddled with the play in or making the playoffs, but could never quite get there. DeJounte Murray was, an all-star player. And so the Spurs said, yeah, time to move him. And then they got tons from, who was it? Atlanta? It was from Atlanta, right?
Mhm.
Because DeJounte's now in New Orleans. Because now Atlanta rerouted him after a couple years. It didn't work out for Atlanta. Um, but yeah, the LaMelo stuff, and like I said, we'll touch more on this as the summer, wears on. But yeah, it feels more and more like that. It would definitely feel like that if Dylan Harper somehow is nabbed by the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow evening, which would be super exciting.
Yeah, be fire. And for the record, I do think Harper and LaMelo could share a backcourt. I think that could work.
I do too. That's why I asked that, because
Yeah.
I don't think it's a thing where like they couldn't play alongside each other. I do believe, because I thought Scoot and LaMelo could as well. I would have been fine running that guard combo out. I would be fine with LaMelo and Dylan Harper as well. But for me, it would be just handing Harper the keys,
Yeah.
and Brandon Miller, and saying, hey guys, this is your team. You two build this thing together, while getting all of those assets in return that you got from LaMelo, and all that cap flexibility from shedding 40 mil, which we'd have to take something on, I'm sure, but hopefully in an expiring,
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
a couple expirings, to where next year you're really in a place. Because like you said, I know you look at the East right now, and you got Halliburton going down, tearing his Achilles. You got Tatum down, which that doesn't mean anything. Boston's going to be really good even without Jason Tatum. Guess what? Indiana's probably still going to be a playoff team without Halliburton. They got Siakam. Nembhard really had a good showing this playoff. And so, I mean, I don't think that those teams are going to tank into the lottery. That's not by any stretch. But I know a lot of fans are like, this, the iron's hot. Like, strike now. This is the time for Charlotte to make some moves. Come on, Jeff Peters. I think they're looking at next year's draft as well. I mean, there's some really top end talented players in next year's draft. And I think if the Hornets land top four, you got the Boozer twins. You got the guard that's going to Kansas, Patterson. You got DeBonsa. I mean, you got a lot of high end talent next year. So if you land top four, top five again next year, I mean, that's just more talent. And then you're talking about hopefully a year of healthy Brandon Miller, whoever you select, whether that be Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, if it happened to be a Dylan Harper, cool. You get a year of those guys under your belt, and then it's just, yeah, there's a ton that you can start doing with all of that. But I don't think Hornets fans, and we'll touch on this more in the summer as well, I don't think you are going to see this team in the playoffs next season.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
I would love to be wrong, by the way. Like,
I would love
I
to.
want this team to be good, but I want them to be good for a sustained period. I don't want a microwave team. Which, by the way, the Atlanta Hawks just traded for Porzingis, so that's gonna be fun to deal with.
No. Hold up. I need more details.
Boston, Atlanta, Brooklyn, 3-teamer. Porzingis and its second going to Atlanta. Terrence Mann and Atlanta's 22nd to Brooklyn. George Niang and a second rounder to Boston. Boston's obviously trying to cut salary, but now we got to deal with KP in Atlanta, so that's fun now.
Shit. Hold up. So Boston just got. Boston only got George Niang and a second for Porzingis.
Woo. Yeah.
Woo. Dang. Oh, let me go ahead and tell you what Hornets Twitter will be. Jeff, you're supposed to be in on every deal, man.
Jeez, man. They're trying to get away from that apron.
They could have taken Tijon Salon in a second to get the zinger.
Shit.
Oh, okay.
KP would make KP fits a need for Charlotte, and he fits the Charlotte culture of staying hurt.
Of
Um,
staying in. I was just about to say that would be perfect. That'd be too perfect.
yeah, man. That's gonna be so annoying. Trey Young and him. Anyway, uh, just put a bow on this. On the yeah, let's put a bow on the draft stuff. So, who do you want the Hornets to draft tomorrow?
Ace Bailey,
Who do you think the Hornets will draft tomorrow?
Concanipple.
Okay, I agree with you now. I don't think. Do you think Edgecombe goes 3, either
I
to
do.
Philly or somebody else?
I think Edgecombe's gone. I think if Philly stays, I think they take him. I think if anybody moves up, I think they also take him. I think Ace Bailey is the outlier. If I just don't know why Philly would want to move back with the Nets. I mean, I guess you get Cam Johnson on that team, which could be helpful. I don't know. I actually can't see it now that I say it out loud because I've been so focused on the Hornets as always. Um, yeah, I could see Philly doing something just like that, and getting Ace Bailey and saying that this is the guy we want, and then in that scenario, then I think it's Edgecombe and Concanipple. And right now, if you had to pin me down right now, gosh, that's such a toss up for me. That's such a toss up because I feel like Edgecombe is. I feel like Edgecombe brings that more defensive spark than Knipple, but I think Knipple just adds so much offensively for the Hornets that Edgecombe wouldn't, especially in the immediate. Um, yeah, that's a flip the coin. If it lands heads, take Con. Tails, take Edgecombe. That's how close I am on those two
Yeah,
behind Ace Bailey.
I feel that. I feel that. One quick thing before we get out of here. At 9:12 p.m. Eastern yesterday, Tom's clearly doing one of his agent contacts a favor by tweeting out
100%.
just this is the Woj special, just a news dump favor tweet. Clearly, Trey Man, I'm just read it. Trey Man has fully recovered from his back disc herniation, which limited him to just 13 games last season, has participated in all of Charlotte's offseason activities and 5-on-5s, his agent said. Now, there's ain't no way. The only plausible thing that would make me believe that Shams felt it necessary to tweet about Trey Mann, probably for the maybe second time ever, since definitely first time since he's been traded to Charlotte, that whatever number the agent wants for Trey, whatever number the Hornets want to pay Trey, those numbers don't match
We
up.
did not offer him that.
That's what this feels like. It feels like him trying to run the numbers up a little bit to help with the negotiations. This is it's a very weird thing to see at 9:00 at night from Shams.
It was so strange. It was so random. I mean, you're talking the draft. It's draft eve, right? And the NBA Finals just ended. There are trades happening all across the league, some very strange ones at that. And Trey Man, it was so easy to read what was being stated here because I'd imagine the qualifying offer has been just shoved across the table to Trey Man and said, "Hey, 1-year deal, prove it. You have the year that we think that you can have. We'll pay you next summer." But that's pretty much where we're at. And the agent's like, "Yeah, we want something longer than a 1-year deal. We're coming off back issues. Like, we have another injury, led season. We don't know what's coming next off season. We don't even know if a contract is coming his way if he has another injury like this."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was some bullshit, man.
Aaron Turner, his representation, he's doing his job. I respect it, but it is a very weird thing to see, and I hope it's all legit. I love Trey Man going into last season. There's a lot of hope there. I put money on him to win most improved player. Didn't work out, but it is what it is. Trey, man, in this fully healthy, I'm excited to see it, whether he plays for Charlotte or not. I wish him the best. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that as we wrap up here, because that just happened last night. It was
Great mention.
super strange. But thank y'all for coming through, hanging out with us. Make sure you subscribe on the way out. I'm gonna be live tomorrow for the entire draft, and then I'll probably make a video after the draft. And hopefully it'll be a fun draft and not a shitty one like last year. So until then, Balta, appreciate you as always. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Ace Bailey, baby.